All right, so in this video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the process of designing the North Pole as the game that I'm going to talk about. So I originally had this idea for the game. I had it for a while, actually. I was just trying to figure out a theme for it was the problem. But basically the concept was that people or players were going to be trying to get two specific cards in their hand. And they were going to do so through a bunch of play interaction and cards being passed around. At the beginning, I just couldn't think of a good theme to fit this idea. But then Button Shy announced their 18-card game contest, which was holiday themed. And so that was a great excuse or reason to just give it a holiday theme. And the theme I chose was a Christmas theme and called it the North Pole. Originally, I wanted to make it for up to 5 players, but as I kind of tested it and worked on it, I realized that with 18 cards, 5 players was really hard to do. So I stepped it back to 4 players. And the next step of designing it was figuring out, well, how are the cards actually going to get moved around? What are the powers on the cards? What's going to work and what's not going to work? I knew I wanted a lot of player interaction and some fun, unique card powers. Some were very basic, draw a card or pass a card to the left. And the powers that I came up with at first, the biggest issue was I felt like there was a lack of control. You couldn't really control whether or not you were going to be getting cards you wanted, and it was 100% luck based on just whatever you got and whether or not that fit what you were trying to get. It seemed even more lucky than, Go Fish, where you're calling out a specific card and seeing if they have it right. So yeah, I had to deal with the randomness and lack of control. And I think I found a good set of powers that had a good mix and that were relatively balanced. Some of the powers were a little bit better than others, but for the most part, I feel like they're balanced now. The key to getting them balanced was trying to find powers that give players an extra decision or a little bit more control. However, instead of just giving full control and being able to find everything too easily, I kind of balanced that by making some of the powers relatively situational. So sometimes this power or the ability to steal a card from another player or just these other decisions you can make don't make sense in every situation. Therefore, a powerful card at one time may not be powerful for you at a different time. And vice versa. A weak card for somebody could be a great card for you. And it all just depends on getting it in the right situation and using it at the right time. I also found that it was important to balance the gifts with those that are on the front and back so that people weren't trying to fight for the exact same ones all the time. In the end, I decided to make it so that the wish lists that you're trying to fulfill in this game have some overlap with the other players, but they're not complete overlap. So each one has one overlapping competitor that is trying to go for one of the same gifts. But then everyone also has one unique gift that no one else is trying to get. And there's a gift card that kind of functions like a wild that anyone can get. After that, it was just, play testing and seeing what worked, what didn't. One of the biggest breakthroughs in the play testing was deciding that 4-player max fit better. And one of the key things that made that decision is that I kind of had an epiphany or realization that I could give each player 2 assignments by putting an assignment on the front and on the back of a card. I was previously just having an assignment on the front of the card and then a game designed logo kind of back. It seems like a very simple realization that I should have, it's such a simple concept. But I found that simple ideas like this and changes you make during your design process, they seem profound at the time because you just didn't quite think of it or whatever it was. And afterwards, I'm looking back and I'm like, that was obvious. Why wouldn't I have had a double-sided assignment card for each player? But sometimes it's those simple decisions and simple things that come up during playtesting and design that, change the game and make it a whole lot better and make it function and work the way it's supposed to. The other nice thing about this game was that being 18 cards, it was really easy to play test and iterate and design. I was able to make print and play files, just line them up on a piece of paper, and I could send it to other people to play test really easily. There wasn't a whole lot of complicated parts or mechanics that needed to be having their own very unique pieces. Overall, the game was great design practice. The limitations set by the contest rules, of 18 cards and a theme provided constraints that allowed me to kind of let my creativity flow a little bit, and kind of like working out a muscle, put just a little bit of weight against it and try to find what works and work within these parameters. And hopefully the result is a pretty fun game that you can play with your family during the holidays.